Welcome everyone to the workshop on retrospectives. Retrospectives are a crucial part of any project or process. They allow us to pause, reflect on what has been accomplished, and learn from our experience. By looking back at what worked well and what didn't, we can gain valuable insight and use this knowledge to improve future endeavors. So looking back to move forward, our past actions and outcome is the key to making informed decision and fostering continuous improvement. It's not just about identifying mistakes, but also recognize and building on our sources. So throughout this workshop, we will explore the best practices for conducting effective retrospectives. I will also be discussing techniques for gathering and analyzing feedback, facilitating constructive discussions, and creating actionable plans that drives progress. So with that being said, let's jump into the outline. So I'm going to be talking about what retrospective is and why we have them, a typical retrospective format. We will have some icebreakers and energizers, and then collecting topics, and then I'm going to also be talking about voting, and then how to facilitate a discussion to have a meaningful retrospective. And then we're going to be talking about also generating actions. So with that being said, if you're excited, stick with me throughout this workshop, and we can go through all this together. Retrospective, looking back or dealing with past event or situation. So a retrospective is a structured meeting where we reflect on our work and process to identify areas of improvement. It's a time to celebrate success and also learn from challenges. Retrospectives are typically held at regular intervals, such as at the end of a project sprint or iteration. So basically, if a sprint is bi-weekly or 2 weeks after this bi-weekly sprint, you will be able to have some form of retrospective. Or if it's a 1 week sprint or a month, you will be able to have this retrospective around. So during these meetings, the team discuss their experience and generate actionable steps to enhance their process. In what situation they are used? So retrospective can be used in any project-based industry. They are not limited to software development, but are beneficial in any context where continuous improvement is desired. So how we use them in the context of software development. In software development, retrospectives are usually held at the end of sprint, as I said, or iteration. This meeting helped the team to adapt and improve on their work process based on the feedback and insight gathered during the retrospective. So the prime directive here is to make sure you let the team know this is not where we point fingers and it's a blameless activity. So you have to let the team, you have to create that psychological safety in place. Make sure the team is comfortable and knowing that it is not a blame, a place where we blame each other. So why retrospective? For retrospective helps us in team building and then problems that haven't been discussed, and then take a step back from a work or from a work project, and then continuous improvement. So these are the major ways where for why we held retrospective. And another important part is also for us to be able to have fun. This is very important, to be able to have fun as a team. Now let's talk about some resistance. We normally encounter some resistance, and why do we have this resistance? One, too irregular, or so why is too irregular? So the issue here is retrospective are hard too irregular, making it hard for the team to see their values. And in order for us to solve this problem, we have to schedule them on a predefined calendars. By having regular retrospective, the team can anticipate and prepare for them, making it consistent part of their work. So as you said, if it's a bi-weekly sprint, make sure you schedule it right after the sprint, and then you put it that cadence as well for the team. And another one why team may have a resistance is too busy. Teams often feel they have too busy to spend time on retrospective, and the solution here is if you slow down and take some time to correct problems with the process, you will be able to work faster and more efficiently in the long run. And investing a bit of time now saves much more time later. And then another thing I would like to say is the the team always feel that it is not needed. The issue here is some teams members might think retrospective are unnecessary, and then the solution here is to retrospective are still useful for other reasons beyond immediate problem solving. Ask them, so are we perfect? To challenge this assumption. Also remind them that not everyone might agree with their view. It's important to consider different perspectives as well. Lack of actions. This often lack of follow-up on the action decide during retrospective, and then reserve time to follow up on action. Ensure that the actions are actionable and realistically followed up. If a topic is out of your control, there will be no action, so focus on what can be changed. Retrospective can be repetitive if the same topics are discussed every time, so make sure regular retros help in bringing constructive action. An experienced facilitator can steer up the conversation to topics within the team's control and escalate problem outside the team's control. This ensures that discussion remain relevant and also productive as well. And then retrospective, the team can feel that it is very boring, and then what you as a facilitator to do is to make sure use various formats to keep the teams fresh, rotate facilitators to bring in a new perspective, and discuss with your facilitator what was done last time to introduce variety. And small things like snacks, sweet can also make the section more enjoyable and engaging. That is if you're having an in-person retrospective. So a typical retrospective format, we will have an icebreaker, we will collect topics, we will vote, and then we will have some facilitate discussion, and then we will generate actions. And then the first part of we having, as you can see, we will have some icebreaker. So we will have some icebreakers. So the first step is to have an icebreaker, and I will show you some icebreaker forward. So icebreaker number one will be a candy lab, where you can generate a bunch of topics. So one thing you love about your job, favorite food, favorite book or movie, one stressful thing about your job, life goal that you are working on, favorite way to revive yourself during your work day. And then you can ask this question to the team and let them choose one candy, and then based on one, they could be able to talk about it, and this could be a fun icebreaker for the team to loosen up before you start with your retrospective. And then also you can also ask the team, how safe do you feel to speak out and discuss issue in this group? And you can let them choose based on the numbers on the screen. So this exercise is particularly useful for teams that are new to retrospective. It helps in assessing the current level of safety and comfort within the group, which is foundational for open and honest discussion. And then you can vote anonymously and ask the team members to rate their level of safety on a scale from 1 to 5, where 5 means they feel completely safe to discuss anything, and 1 means they don't feel safe to discuss anything at all. It's important to collect this vote anonymously to ensure honest feedback. And once the votes are collected, discuss the result as a team. This discussion can highlight areas where the team feels vulnerable and can also help in identifying steps to improve the overall safety and trust within the group. And then you can also twist how comfortable do you think others are in the group, and alternative questions for a different perspective. You can ask the team members to assess how comfortable they think others in the group, and these tweets can provide insight into perceived safety versus actual safety and help understanding team dynamic as well. So icebreaker is done, and then now let's move on to collecting topics. How do we collect topic? In this activity called Cards Against Agility, we use cards to spark discussion and generate ideas on how we can improve our agility as a team. The cards you see here are tools to help you as identify areas where we can enhance our practices and address any blockers that might be hindering our progress. So the purpose of this activity, the goal of this exercise is to engage the team in collaborative discussion about our current process, challenges, and opportunities for improvement. By using these cards, we can visualize our thought and collectively brainstorm solution. And then let's see how it works. So number one, you're going to generate topics. Each team member write down their thought on a different cards. This thought can include areas where we need more feedback, suggestion for more team collaboration, and need for more learning time, and etc. And then the group similar ideas. After everyone has written their cards, we group similar ideas together. This helps us use common themes and areas that multiple team members feel they need an attention. And then you go ahead and ask the team. As we discuss these group topics, we prioritize the ones that we believe will have the most significant impact on our agility and work process. And then we can also create action items. Finally, we turn these prioritized ideas into actionable steps. Each action item should be clear, with an assigned owner and deadline to ensure accountability and follow through. So the benefit here is number one will be engagement. This activity ensure everyone's voice is heard and valued. And then we also have clarity. It helps us clearly identify and focus on specific areas for improvement. And by creating actionable steps, we move from discussion to implementation, fostering continuous improvement. So that's it about using cards against agility. The next one will be the WARB. Activity is another effective method for conducting retrospective. It stands for wishes, appreciation, risks, and puzzle. And this framework helps teams to categorize their thought and discussion into 4 distinct areas, ensuring comprehensive review of their work and process. So wish, purpose here is to identify areas for improvement or things the team would like to change. Example, I wish we could improve our code review process to catch more bugs early. And then appreciation, highlight and celebrate success, acknowledging what went well. Example will be appreciate how the team came together to meet the last sprint deadline despite the challenges. And then risk could be purpose here is to identify potential risks that could impact the team's progress or success. So an example here will be we are at risk of failing behind schedule if we don't get the new software update on time. And then puzzle, purpose here is to discuss any questions or uncertainties that the team has about the project or process. Example will be I'm puzzled about how we are going to integrate the new system with our current workflow and how it works. Divide the boards, set up boards or space into 4 quadrants, label wishes, appreciation, risks, and puzzle. As you can see on the board, we have wish here, and then we also have appreciation, and we will have a column for risks, and we will have a column for puzzle. Then by doing this, you'll be able to gather your insight as well. So this pretty much on the WAP or WARB format or framework to be able to use to generate insight. Another one is timeline. The timeline activity is very powerful tool for visualizing the sequence of events that occurs over the course of a project. This helps teams reflect on their journey, identify significant moments, and understand the impact of various events on the project's progress and team morale. And the purpose of the team timeline activity is to review the key event from the start to the end of the project, understand the emotional journey of the team by plotting positive and negative events, and then learn from the past. Use insight gained to improve future projects. And how it works: draw the timeline horizontal line on a board or a paper represent the project duration from the start to the end of the project, and mark key event. Team members mark significant events along the timeline. This can include milestones, deadlines, challenges, achievements, and any other notable occurrence, and plot the emotional journey above the timeline. Team members place positive events, so high points, and below the timeline they place negative event, low point. This helps to visualize the emotional highs and lows throughout the project. And then review the timeline as a team, discuss the events, why they were significant and how they impacted the project and the team. This conversation can uncover valuable lessons and insights and identify patterns and lessons. Look for patterns or recurrent themes and identify what contributed to positive outcome and what caused setbacks. Discuss how this insight can be applied to future projects, and then also visualize representation that provide a clear visual representation of the project progress and key moments. And then also team reflection, encourage team members to share their perspective and experiences. And then this is also a learning opportunity and helps the team learn from past experience and apply these lessons to improve future projects. The next one will be back to the future. So the back to the future activity is creative and engaging way to conduct retrospective and inspired by the movie Space Jam. This framework uses thematics, visuals to promote team discussion on various aspects of their work. It encourages and reflects on past performance and planning for the future improvements. So what is the purpose of the activity? This exercise helps teams to reflect on past experience, identify what worked well and what didn't, and then also celebrate achievements, recognize this, celebrate success, identify areas for improvement, discuss challenges and potential risks, plan for the future, develop strategies for addressing issues and enhancing performance, and how it works. So set up a board as you can see on the screen, and then divide a board or large paper into sections with prompt and corresponding visual. In this example, the board is divided into 5 sections. What is bringing us down? What have we achieved? How have we worked as a team? And then what is helping us? And then what risks do we see now or in the future? And then by using this visualization, you will be able to let the team populate their insight here, and then based on this you can be able to generate some meaningful insight to help the team. And what is the benefit of this back to the future? It's engaging, very engaging format. This use of thematic visual makes the activity more engaging and enjoyable, and it's also comprehensive reflection. It covers a wide range of topics, ensuring thorough reflection on the team's work. And then action oriented, focus on identifying actionable steps to address challenges and leverage strengths. And using the back to the future activity helps the team to look back on their experiences, celebrate the achievement, and then plan for more successful future. And it encourages open discussion and collaborative problem solving in a fun and a creative way. So collecting topic is done. So I will encourage you to mix it up. You don't have to stick to one. Mix it up every retro that you do. So it's, as you can see, it could get really boring. So mix it up to make it fun for your team. So the next one we're gonna be talking about is vote. So let's see how we can do voting techniques. So voting is a crucial part of retrospective as it helps in prioritize topics and reaching a consensus on decisions. So as you can see, 2 common voting techniques used during retrospective. We have the dot voting and a fist of 5 or Roman voting. So the dot voting on purpose here is simple and effective way to prioritize topics by allowing team members to vote on what they consider most important. And so let's see how it works. Number 1 is you will generate idea. Team members write down their ideas or topics on sticky notes and distribute dots. Each team member receive a certain number of dots, sticker or markers, and team members place their dots on their ideas they think are most important. They can distribute their dots across multiple ideas or put all their dots on a single idea. And then after count the dots, the idea with the most dots are considered the highest priority and will be discussed first. And the benefit here is also visualize prioritization, provide a clear visual representation of the team's prioritization. And then it's quick and efficient way, allows fast and decision making, and it's inclusive, ensures everyone's voice is heard and considered. And then the next one will be fist of 5 or Roman voting. It could also be agreement. So the purpose here is the fist of 5 or Roman voting technique is used to gauge the level of agreement or support for a particular proposal or decision. So anytime you want to agree on a particular topic or any prioritization, you can also use this to be able to vote. And how it works: so you present the proposal, or a proposal or decision is presented to the team, and then, for example, maybe can we turn our camera on during meetings, virtual meetings, and then voting with fingers. So team members vote by showing a number of fingers, so from 0 to 5, to indicate their level of agreement. So 5 finger means absolutely, 4 means yes, and 3 means it's okay, and 2 fingers I would rather not, but it's everyone else agrees, and 1 is no, and 0 finger is never. And then based on this, you can be able to gauge agreement based on the votes. The team can quickly gauge the level of support for the proposal. If there are a lot of 3s or lower, it indicates that more discussion is needed. And the benefit here is also it's quick feedback, provide immediate feedback on the level of the agreement, and it's also inclusive, allows everyone to express their opinion without speaking out, and it encourages consensus, helps identify areas where consensus is lacking and more discussion is also needed. So these voting techniques are essential tools in retrospectives to ensure effective prioritization and decision making, and dot voting helps in identifying the most critical topics to discuss, while Fist of 5 or Roman voting helps in gauging teams' agreements and in ensuring everyone's voice is heard. So that's also it about votes. And then let's talk about facilitate discussion. How do we what is a good facilitator? So a good facilitator not there to give answers. So the purpose here is, the facilitator role is to guide the discussion, not to provide solution. The aim is to help the team find their own answers through reflection and dialogue. Example, instead of suggesting a solution, a good facilitator might ask, what do you think are the potential solutions to this problem? And then everyone is heard. The purpose here is, ensures that all team members have an opportunity to speak and contribute. This promotes inclusivity and harness the collective intelligence of the team. Example, the facilitator can encourage a quieter team member to share their thoughts by directly inviting them into the conversation. And then constructive disagreement. Facilitates constructive disagreement where different opinions are discussed respectfully. This can lead to better decision making and innovative solution. Example, it is great way have different perspectives on this. Let's explore the pros and cons of each approach. And also, as a good facilitator, you have to keep conversation on track. And the purpose for this is to ensure the discussion stays focused on the agenda and goals of the retrospective. This helps in making the meeting productive and time efficient. Example will be, I notice we are moving off topics. Let's refocus on our main question. And then a good facilitator also always have to check timing. This is very important. You have to check timing. So manage the time effectively to ensure all agenda items are covered within the allocated time. This prevents the meeting from dragging on and keeps it efficient. Example, you can say we have 10 minutes left. Let's wrap up this discussion and move on to the next topic. Recording the discussion is very also important, and document the key points, decision and action items discussed during this meeting, and this ensure accountability and provide reference for future retrospective. Example will be the facilitator can assign a scribe or take notes to themselves to capture important insight and agreed upon action. And by focusing on this element, facilitator can generate a safe and a productive environment for team members to reflect, discuss, and improve their process. And a good facilitator helps in harnessing the collective intelligence of the team and driving continuous improvement. And then also you can use powerful questions to encourage different perspectives. So powerful questions are essential tools in retrospective and discussion. They help us in encouraging different perspectives and stimulate deep thinking. and uncovering insight that might not be immediately obvious. These questions are designed to prompt the reflection and generate meaningful dialogue within the team. And purpose of a powerful question: encourage different perspectives. By asking open-ended questions, we can draw out diverse viewpoints from team members. This helps in understanding the problems or situation more comprehensively, and it also stimulates deep thinking. A powerful question makes team members think more deeply about their work, process, and outcomes, and it also uncover insight. This question helps identify root cause, challenges, opportunities that may not be immediate apparent. Example of powerful question would be what does success looks like? So this question helps the team to define their vision of success. It sets a clear goal and helps everyone to align their effort towards achieving it. So example would be, if we consider this project successful, what specific outcome will we see? And then what makes this important is another question that you can ask. What is stopping us is another question that you can also ask. And how to use powerful question and contextualize it. Tailor the question to fit the context of your discussion or retrospective. And it also has to be open-ended. Ensure the question are open-ended to encourage detailed response and discussion. And as a facilitator, make sure you also listen actively, pay attention to the response, and facilitate further discussion based on the answers. And also encourage participation. Involve all team members in answering and discussing this question to get comprehensive view. And some of the benefit is it's deepens understanding, helps the team gain deeper understanding of their work and process, and it also promotes engagement and drive improvement as well. So make sure you use powerful questions during your facilitations. Handling different personalities, it's very important. We have different forms of personality. So dominating, these individuals tend to dominate the conversation, often speaking more frequently and louder than others. They may unintentionally overshadow the quieter team members. So the strategy here is set ground rule. Establish a ground rules at the beginning of the meeting, such as giving everyone an equal opportunity to speak. Use a talking stick. Implement tools like talking stick to ensure only the person holding it can speak, which can help manage speaking time. And then also direct the question. Address question directly to other team members to ensure they have chance to contribute. An example would be, thank you for your input. I would like to hear from so now. And then also we have a disengaged personality. Disengaged team members may appear uninterested, distracted, or unmotivated during this discussion, and they might not contribute much and can seem disconnected from the conversation. So the strategy here to be able to mitigate this is ask direct question to involve them in the discussion and show their input is valued. And also make sure you use icebreakers or break the ice. Use icebreakers or interactive activity to capture their interest and get them involved. And also have a private check-in before after meetings to understand any underlying issues and encourage participation. Example will be, hey team member so what are your thoughts on this issue? And then you can be able to get better understanding on this. And then we also have a quiet team member. So for a quiet individual may be hesitant to speak at all, or either due to shyness, lack of confidence, or fear of judgment, and they often need encouragement to share their ideas. And a strategy here to be able to help this quiet team member is to foster supportive and non-judgmental environment where everyone feels safe to speak, and then also encourage participate gently, encourage them to share their thoughts by asking open-ended questions or use reading input. Allow team members to write down their ideas on a sticky notes or in a shared document which can be discussed anonymously. Example will be, I would love to hear your perspective of this, and then he or she can be able to share his perspective as well. And balanced participation, aim for balanced participation by being mindful of speaking time and encourage input from all team members, and also observe and adapt. Be observant of team dynamics and be ready to adapt your facilitation techniques to ensure everyone's voice is heard. Most importantly, follow up. After the meetings, follow up with team members, especially those who are quiet and disengaged, to gather any additional thoughts or feedback. By effectively handling different personalities, you can create more inclusive and productive environment that harness the full potential of your team. And then that's it for facilitate discussion. And now let's move to generate action. So what are actions, by the way? Actions are specific tangible points obtained from a discussion that can be completed to improve the process of the team. They are the outcome of a retrospective or any team meetings where improvements and follow-ups are necessary. So the purpose here is to actions helps to turn the insight and discussion from the retrospective into concrete steps that can lead to real improvement. Example would be if we identify that our code review process is slow, an action could be implement a new tool or set up a workshop to streamline this process. And why do we have them, by the way? So it's important we take record of this discussion. Actions serve as record of what was discussed during the retrospective. They capture the key point decisions and commitments made by the team, and the benefit here is to ensure that discussion is documented and can be referred back to in future retrospective or meetings. And also documentation of tasks. Action provide a clear documentation of tasks that needs to be completed. They outline who is responsible for what and by when, and this helps in tracking progress, ensuring accountability, and making sure that the team follows through on their commitments. And then also we have to set a reminder of past retros. So actions serve as a reminder of past retrospective. They show the team's ongoing efforts to improve their progress made over time. This helps in maintaining continuity, building previous efforts. It also provides historical record of team's development. And in conclusion, by defining and documenting action, we ensure that our retrospective leads to meaningful changes. Actions help us to turn ideas into reality. They transform discussion and insight into actionable steps. And then effective actions. So any effective action has to have ownership. So every action item should have a clear assigned owner who is responsible for ensuring it is completed. And then also time frame. Each action should have a specific deadline or time frame for completion. Example, the new code review tool should be implemented by the end of this month. And then we also have visibility. Action should be visible to the entire team, often documented in a shared space, such as maybe it could be your Jira or it could be your ADO board. So this is very helpful to be able to visualize these actionable items. And then capacity to get them completed. So action should be realistic within the team's capacity to complete. The team should have the necessary resource and time to carry out the actions. Example will be, given our current workload, we will focus on implementing one major process improvement this sprint. And then we can also say it's a suitable amount for the team. And then the number of action items should be manageable for the team. It is better to focus on a few impactful actions rather than having too many that dilute focus. So in conclusion, by ensuring that each action items have clear ownership, defined time frame, visibility, and then within the team's capacity and limited to a suitable amount, we can make sure that our retrospective lead to effective and actionable outcome. This approach helps in driving continuous improvement and achieving tangible result as well. So an example of actions item will be, so as we can see, we have an action item here, and we can also even put it on our Jira, or it could even be sticky notes, and we can have a column for in progress, and when it is done, we can move it to the done column as well. So typical retrospective format, you have your icebreaker, you collect topic, you make sure you do your voting, and then we will facilitate discussion and generate actions. So that's pretty much it on how to be able to have effective retrospective or conduct effective retrospective. If you find this very useful, make sure you subscribe and leave your comment below how you facilitate or run your retrospective with your team.